Okay, hello grade 10s. We're going to start with a new section of Maths Lit today. So it's topic 3, finance, chapter 1, financial documents. So this is on page 142 of your textbooks. Okay, so we're going to start with personal or household finance. So when I speak about personal or household finance, I'm talking about utilities. So when I speak about utility accounts, I'm saying electricity, water, telephone. Okay, so these are all the accounts which you have to pay in your household. Okay, so you can ask your parents to look at examples of your electricity bills or your water bills or your telephone bills. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of examples of accounts so that you guys can interpret invoices and be able to answer questions regarding these invoices. This is the most practical section with Maths Lit because you'll use this one day definitely. Okay, so let's look at the invoice we've got here. So this is an electricity bill from the municipality. Okay, so this here, okay, Mr. W. Kello, 29 Bentley Road, Willerton. This is the address of the household. Okay, so this would be your address. Okay, that would be up here. So this is the address that the municipality uses to send you your account. Okay, this here is your tax invoice number. Okay, like it says, this here is your account number. Now each person gets their own account number. Okay, so they know which account to go look for if they need to make any adjustments or payments or whatever. Okay, then this is account summary as at the 24th of the 12th, 2010. So it's the 24th of December. So this is an account summary of what they owe up until that date. Okay, and then this due date is when it's payable by. So when they have to pay the amount by, or when they have to pay a certain amount by. So this due date, they have an idea of when they need to pay by. Now this section here, okay, gives you an understanding of what happened in the month leading up to the 24th of the 12th. Okay, so if we look at this, our previous account balance, which means from the last month, okay, this is what we owed. Okay, so this is owed from previous month. Okay, then this less payments. You can see on the 8th of the 12th, so on the 8th of December, the household made payments towards this account. Okay, so on the 8th of the 12th, they paid 296 Rand and 20 cents. Now, do you see the amount that they owed was 255 and 43 cents, but they paid 296 Rand and 20 cents. So this means they've got a credit of 40 Rand 77. So this means now that they've paid more, they've paid 40 Rand and 70 cents more than what they should have. So this amount gets carried over to the next month and then it gets deducted. Okay, so I'll show you how that works now. Then the latest account. So latest account means how much do they owe now after. So how much do they owe now this month? Owed this month. Okay, so the current amount due, so they owe 198 Rand 96, but because they had 40 Rand and 77 Rand left over from last month that they paid over, that gets deducted, so they only have to pay 158 Rand 19. Okay, so they owed 255, they paid more than what they owed, so this amount just gets deducted from what they owe. So now this is what they owe, the new amount that they owe, and then it tells you payable by the 18th of the 1st 2011. So it tells you when you have to pay this amount by. Okay. Okay, let's go to some questions that you guys might find. So it says, what was the monetary value of the electricity used for the billing period, the 24th of the 11th to the 24th of the 12th? Okay, so like I said, this is the amount that they owe on the 24th of the 12th, because this says an account summary for 24th of the 12th. So 24th of the 12th, they owe 158 Rand and 19 cents. Okay, now they ask the 24th of the 10th to the 24th of the 11th. So this is 24th of October to 24th of November. Now remember, I told you this amount is what they owed the previous month. So this is the amount they're looking for. Okay, now they say give possible reasons why there is a difference. Okay, so you could have looked at this and come up with your own reasons, but why is the 11th to the 12th lower than the 10th to 11th? Now the answer that they give is the 11th to the 12th, usually people go on holiday, so they don't use as much electricity because they're not at the house. Okay, but you can come up with some reasons as long as they are accurate. Then they say, how much did the Kellos pay last month? So how much did they pay? All right, so now you go and look and you see less payments they paid last month, 296 Rand and 20 cents. Okay, like I said, why does the total and credit column have a negative balance? Okay, so you guys might not see it on here, but there's a negative here because they paid over. So we say they paid more than required. Okay, so this amount just gets deducted from the amount that they owe this month because they overpaid by 40 Rand and 77 cents. Then they say, why must they only pay 158 Rand 19 this month after being billed for 198 Rand 96? So why did this amount get deducted? So you will just say because they had money left over from last month. Okay, so now we're going to look at another financial document that you guys might find. Okay, so this comes with when you're paying your accounts. Now if you want to pay your accounts, you can pay by cash, you can pay by check, EFT, ATM, or a cell phone. Okay, so nowadays you do have apps that you can pay your utility bills. So remember your utilities, your electricity, water, and telephone. Now with your invoice statement, so this is an invoice statement. With your invoice statement, you'll get a remittance slip sometimes if you pay by cash. Okay, so this is how a remittance slip looks like. Okay, now if you look at this remittance slip, it says balance amount on the 18th of the 1st, 2011. So how much do they owe? This is kind of like a summary of what happened in the invoice. So they owe that amount that needs to be paid by the 18th of the 1st. Okay, total due if not paid in cash. Okay, so remember the 40 Rand and 70 cents got deducted, so they need to pay this if it's not in cash. Now if they pay in cash, they pay 4 cents less. Now the reason for this is if you pay in cash, because we don't have 2 cents or 1 cent anymore, okay, then we can only do rounded off to the nearest 5 cents. So we have to do 15 cents, and then they just have to, the 4 cents gets carried on to the next month. Okay, so if they pay by cash, then they have to pay 158 and 15 cents, okay, and then the 4 cents that they couldn't pay because we don't have 2 cents and 1 cent, that gets carried over to the next month. So this only happens when you pay by cash because they have to carry this 4 cents over. Okay, then another document is your telephone bill. Now this one is a little bit, I'm not sure if you can see it, but if you can't see it, then please go follow on page 144 so you can see what I'm speaking about. Okay, so a lot of households don't have telephone lines anymore, and I'm not sure if your household has it, but some businesses still have a landline, and I'm not sure if you guys ever did have a landline, but these are telephones that run in your house. Okay, so this is a Telkom invoice for Mrs. J.D. Mabata, and it gives her number, so that's the account for this number. Okay, so this is Mrs. J.D. Mabata, and this gives the address of the person they're sending the invoice to. So Telkom sent this invoice to her because this is her telephone bill. Okay, now payment invoice balance brought forward. So this is 198 Rand and 64 cents. So this is the balance from the previous month, so that she still owes. Okay, now the opening balance is the payments. Okay, so she owed 198 Rand 64 cents. She made payment of 198 and 60 cents. Okay, so now she's left with 4 cents. So like I said, because we don't have 3 cents and 2 cents, this 4 cents was probably carried over because of that reason. So it just gets carried over to the next month. Okay, now this invoice, it says, so this is just a summary. So it says last month she had to pay this, she paid this amount. Now she's got an opening balance, and now this invoice is charging her 277 and 89 cents. Okay, so now it goes on to this invoice. So this is a summary of your account. Now it goes on to what is this invoice. So how did they get to the 277 Rand and 89 cents? Okay, then in this invoice, the Telkom charges rental. So this just means the rental of the landline. Then the usage, okay, this is how many calls she made with the rate that, so if they charged 3 Rand per call, okay, and she made 30 calls, then they would say, okay, 3 Rand times 30, so that gives us 60 Rand. And then they would charge her 60 Rand usage. So I'm not sure what the rate was here, but all in all, she made a couple of calls, and the cost of it became 122 Rand and 45 cents. Okay, so then the subtotal is those two put together. So she had to pay for the rental and she had to pay for the usage. All right, and then they had to add VAT to it. So they added 38,54 Rand VAT. So this is the total now. So they had to first charge her rental, they had to charge her usage, and then they had to charge her VAT. So now she can see how did they get to 270 Rand and 89 cents. So she can see that they charge so much for rental, so much for usage, and so much VAT. Okay. Then, this is a summary of your account. So this is your account number, okay? This is your service reference, all right? So it means that the number that it's your account is on. So this is the number that they are checking how many calls you made. Okay, so then you've got your invoice number. So this was issued on the 9th of November, and the due date for payment is the 1st of December 2010. Okay, so let's look at some questions that they might ask. So it says, identify and write down the account number and the telephone number for Mabata household. So this is where you would find it. So you've got your account number here, and you've got the telephone number here. Okay. Then it says, how much does it cost per month to rent the telephone line? Okay. So we go look at rental, because that is our keyword. So how much does it cost to rent it? So the rental they charged 116 Rand 93 cents. So that will be my answer. Then it says, what is the amount of money that Mrs. Mabata has to pay in usage, and what is usage? So we go to usage, we see she has to pay 122 Rand and 45 cents. Okay, and then with usage, you would say that that is the calls that she made. So usage is the cumulative total cost for all the calls made during that billing period. Okay, so the cost she has to pay for all the calls that she made. Then, did Mrs. Mbata settle a previous account? We can go look at payments. So yes, she did, but she was 4 cents short. Okay, how much must Ms. Mbata pay this month, and what is the due date for this payment? So here is the total that she needs to pay for this month. Like I said, this invoice, okay, that's the amount she needs to pay. All right, and what is the due date for this payment? The due date for this payment, they said, was the 1st of December 2010. Okay, then let's look at this one. So this is a document from a clothing store. So sometimes people open up accounts with clothing stores and then get the clothes, and then they pay by credit. So they get the clothes immediately and then they'll pay at a later stage. Okay, so I'm sure you guys have all heard this. We are looking at Cleo's Apparel Clothing Boutique. So this is the invoice or the statement of account that Miss Al Abrahams has received. Okay, so this basically gives her a summary of what happened in her account that month. Now if we look at it, it says date balance brought forward. Okay, so this BF is called brought forward. Now this is the balance from the previous month. Okay, so it's a balance that she still owes from the previous month. So that was 560 Rand. Okay, then on the 14th, she bought distressed jeans and she paid 299 Rand. Okay, then on the 21st, she paid for a fashion t-shirt of 135 Rand. Alright, then on the 25th, she made a payment to settle her account of 140 Rand. Now the debit side of your account is what increases your account. Your credit side is what decreases. So the more she buys, the more she increases the amount she owes the company. Okay, and then when she pays it, then it decreases that amount. So now her balance at the end of the month, because she's got the balance from the previous month, and she bought a couple of things, but then she made a payment back, so she paid her account back of 140 Rand. So in the end, she has a balance of 845 Rand. Okay. Now I want you guys to do exercise 1 for me.